Monday with Monique.
Welcome to Mondays with Monique. I'm Monique Grossaday, and every show is great, but especially great this time because I have Scott Harvey on the show today, and I'm so very pleased. Thank you so much for coming over, and your lovely wife Jana, who's over here on the side. We're going to be cooking up some lamb burgers, and we're doing it the Scott Harvey way. It's going to be really good, so stay tuned with us. We'll be right back to cook up a storm.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.
Monique Grossaday, Scott Harvey, winemaker extraordinaire, and what are you cooking for us today?
We're making lamb burgers. In Amador County, in all wine regions of the world, local food always goes with local wine.
Sure.
And Amador County grows great lamb, from Joan and Mike Crane, the Devers in the Shenandoah Valley, to the great animals that you can get at the fair from the Grange and the 4-H people.
Sure.
So there's numerous ways to cook lamb, but this is one of Jana and my favorite dish, and we cooked it last night, of course, to make sure we get it all right for today.
You bet. We always practice them.
But anyway, the first thing we do when we start is have a glass of wine.
Well, we can do that.
You got to have wine when you're cooking. Jana and I, we work together all day. I do the winemaking and she does the sales and marketing. And then in the evenings, our time to relax is to cook. And of course, she's kind of fun to chase around the kitchen anyway.
Yeah, of course, she's a kitty.
But anyway, so we cook every evening together. When I make these blends on these wines, we will have a bottle of the blend from the lab first with what we cook. And if the wine doesn't work with the food, then I'll go back and keep blending the next day. So her input is very important. The two of us together really decide on these final blends that we make.
What a great team. Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, so let's try some of the Zinfandel, and we'll start with that. This particular wine was just judged at the San Francisco wine competition, and it was just rated double gold. And so this is the first competition of the year, and both this wine and the Barbera rated very, very well in the competition.
Got that.
And we can toast.
Cheers.
The lamb burgers. And if you look at this wine, you'll notice it's not black. I don't know if the camera can get you that, but Zinfandel in the old, our wines are made.
Look at that color. It's nice and red, dark red, beautiful.
Our wines were made like Zinfandel used to be made back in the 50s and 60s. And the New World style has developed in the last 10 years or so, which is this really highly overripe style of wine, which we refuse to make. We stay with this. Good California Zinfandel in the old days was known, especially when it was aged out, to be called California Claret.
Okay.
And so that's what we really want is a nice delicate color, a beautiful character. You want a wine that's layered, not a wine that just hits you over the head. So, cheers. So we're going to start with the lamb.
If you don't mind, tell me what you're tasting here. How would you describe this wine?
Well, again, layered. I'm looking for those layers. So I want to make a wine that talks to you. So the wine has to say, I'm Zinfandel. It has to say, I'm Amador County. And it has to say, I'm 2011. And it's just like when you go into a grocery store and you're looking at like peaches, you want to buy peaches. That first peach, is green, and then you get to the ripe peach and you can smell it, from clear over here. But as soon as it gets overripe and gets a little brown, you can't smell it anymore, and it loses its flavor. Well, it's the same with wine. If you pick the grapes when they're ripe, you'll get all those things talking to you. If you pick them when they're overripe, you lose it all. So that's what we're looking for. We want this wine to say, I'm Zinfandel. You get that briary character. Amador Zinfandel has that earthiness to it. And then as it goes into the palate, you want those nice red fruits, raspberry and so forth. And then you want a little spice, a little marjoram as it starts pulling through the palate, a little nutmeg or marjoram type of characters. And then after you swallow it, you want it to be round and luscious, and you want it to have enough acidity that it is washing the fats out of your mouth from the food, so that you want to take another bite of food. The next bite of food tastes like that first bite again.
Refreshed.
So it has to go back and forth. So that's the way we make Zinfandel.
And timing's everything, especially
Yeah.
when you're picking your grapes and getting them, into the vat and into the barrel. So
Right.
there's a fine line there.
Right. We want to produce wines that are more aroma rich rather than bouquet rich. Aroma rich means all the characters that come from the vineyard. Bouquet is all the characters that come from the winery, from the cellar. So we want those aroma characters to be more powerful in the wine than the bouquet characters. So we don't want to over oak it.
Right.
And so forth, so that we can keep the wine talking to you.
All right, good. And so we're going to make up some fabulous lamb burgers here. And the ingredients themselves smell delicious. Wait until we start cooking with them. That's going to
Yeah.
be great. So show me what to do.
So we start with breadcrumbs. These are fresh breadcrumbs. So you take bread and just put it in a Cuisinart, cut the crust off. So we'll start with those, and everything's been pre-cut. We did this last night.
That was nice. About a half a cup of breadcrumbs or so.
Yeah, the
Okay.
recipe calls for 2/3 of a cup.
Okay.
And then you're going to want to put in some onions, and that calls for about a half of a medium onion chopped, and it's fresh. Again, it's not you haven't cooked them at all.
Okay.
And then about 4 teaspoons of garlic.
Ooh, and it smells so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
garlic's in all of these things. And then some parsley. That's quite a bit of parsley, but lamb really requires something green to go with it. That's why it's so often served with mint.
Right.
And then dried oregano.
Okay.
And you can use whatever spices you like. I mean,
Sure. If you're a rosemary person or a thyme person.
right. And then your lamb. And again, this is lamb from Amador County. This is from the Crane Ranch, Joan and Mike Crane. Often I'll get lamb from the Deaver Ranch as well. And you just mix this all together to produce your hamburger patties.
Looking good. And lamb does need a balancing flavor, so it's nice to have the parsley. You'll taste it. It won't be overpowering, but you'll definitely be able to get that feel from it.
Yeah.
And then these recipes are on your website as well, www.scottharveywines.com under
Right.
recipes.
And
Look them up.
there's many recipes, since we do so much cooking, and so many people that work with us in our tasting room and here in Sutter Creek are all cooks, and they and when you go into the tasting room, they'll have things there that they've made
Yes,
for you to
yes.
taste with the wines and so forth. So we have a lot of those recipes on
Well,
our
good.
site.
Let's keep working on this. We're just going to go to a quick break, and we will be right back.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.